is a 10-minute film on biology and the reproductive system. You learn about the anatomy on the male and female in hermaphrodite reproductive system. You will also learn the steps of conception and reproduction. This will be a 10-minute film. These objectives will appear on your syllabus, and so you will need to understand and know the body parts of male, female, and hermaphrodite species. Let's begin. In the reproductive system, we need two things for conception to occur: a sperm cell and an egg. As we learn how conception occurs, we want to make sure that we understand the steps of conception. So let's begin with our reproductive system. The reproductive system is what we need as humans to continue to reproduce, and it is just that, a system to reproduce. And so we're going to go over the reproductive system, and we're going to start with what male organs it takes to reproduce. So in the male reproductive system, there is the urinary bladder that sits up top by the bladder, the vas deferens, which is a stream, and it's very thin and it goes down to the testes. And then there's the urethra, which is also even thinner than the vas deferens. And this goes through the stream of the urinary bladder all the way down to the penis. And you have the penis, which we all know what the penis looks like. And then you have the testes, and we know what the testes looks like. And then there is a layer that covers the testes that's called the scrotum. And the scrotum is a layer of skin that covers the testes. And then there is the epididymis. And the epididymis is the very tip of the testes. And I do believe the epidermis is the nerve of the testicles. Then you have the prostate. And then you have the anus. The anus is a canal, or an opening of a canal. The rectum is the actual canal. And then you have what we call the seminal vesicle. And the seminal vesicle is a piece of the anatomy that sits on the prostate. And so these parts make up the male reproductive organs. For the female reproductive organs, we have the ovaries that sit on the outside of the female uterus, and the uterus again outlines the ovaries, and then you have the cervix, which is a layer that covers the actual border of the vagina. At the very bottom of the female reproductive organs, you will see what we refer to as the vagina with the opening. Then you have your ovaries. Ovaries are also a part of the female reproductive system. And the uterus, which is at the very, very top of the actual cervix. So you'll see the cervix that outlines the uterus in a V shape. At the very top of the cervix, you will see where the female uterus exists. These are the parts that make up the female reproductive system. Then you have the hermaphrodite species, and there is a diaphragm there giving you the visual aids of all hermaphrodite species, as they may contain both appearances of male and female genitals. Now we're going to go on and talk a little bit more about the reproductive system. What is the reproductive system? And how does the reproductive system look to us? And what are the steps to reproducing? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We do have some time to discuss this information, and we hope that you gather this information and hold it, because this information will be in our learning objectives. So let's carry on. What happens at the time of fertilization and conception? During fertilization, the sperm and egg unite in one of a fallopian tubes to form a zygote. Then the zygote travels down the fallopian tube where it becomes a morula. Once it reaches the uterus, the morula becomes a blastocyte. The blastocyte then burrows into the uterus lining, a process called implantation. So this is the first step to conception and in human life. We're going to go over 4 steps, the 4 steps that are needed and are shown to contain human life. So this is the first step, and then we'll go on. There are 4 steps. These steps are described in detail. Sperm transport, the transport of sperm and dependent upon several factors. An egg transport, and fertilization, an embryo develop fertilization, and embryo development. implantation, and implantation. So once an embryo has been developed, the actual egg and sperm attaches to the uterus wall. And this is what we call conception in the process of reproduction. A sine coup.